started breaking up, like third or fourth gear. I could just feel it kind of stop pulling. So, don't know what's going on. I'm really tired and I just don't feel like messing with it really. One 860-foot. O2 sensor went out again. I don't know what the deal is with my O2 sensor. It keeps dying mid-run. And I don't know. Yeah, sitting in here in this fire jacket with this helmet on. 80-degree weather. Supposedly like 70 something. Supposedly 72 degrees. Doesn't feel like 72 degrees. It's like 72 degrees and like 150% humidity. So I replaced my O2 sensor. I had a spare with me. Had two spares actually. So we'll see if that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, then I've got something else going on that's killing the O2 sensor mid-track. Maybe the position isn't optimum. I don't know. But replace the O2 sensor. Raise the traction control a little bit. Relaxed it a little bit. And turn the boost up. And so we'll see what it does. Felt like a good launch. I got greedy, tried the flat shift it, missed third. That part would have been a hell of a run. Just the beginning of it was pretty amazing. Ah, yes. 1 160 60 foot, man. 160, it's that close to a fucking... Alright, I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling good about this. I think this might... So... Hey guys, what's going on? So finally got the car back together. Decided to make a run out to Buffalo, Orlando Speedworld. Make some passes, try and finally get this thing figured out and get all the bugs worked out and everything, because ever since I got it back together, I've kind of had some problems with it. If you're not familiar with the changes, went ahead, rebuilt the engine, different rods, just because they were free, max speeding rods. Bumped the compression from 8.5 to 1 to 9.5 to 1. Had the head fixed because apparently when the car went 10.6, it had like 8 bent valves. Really bad compression across the board. Yeah, so got all that stuff sorted out while it was down. Since it took so long to get it back together, I originally planned on like a 3-month build or rebuild, and it took like 3 years. So yeah, while it was down, went ahead and I built a new turbo manifold. So I went from a tubular style to, or I went from a log style to a tubular style. I also went from a 3-inch crush bent exhaust to a 3.5-inch. Should make a big difference, who knows? Theoretically should make a big difference. But then yeah, I ended up cutting some corners by not resurfacing the flywheel. So I put a new clutch disc in, but did not resurface the flywheel, used the old pressure plate. Big shocker, the clutch did not hold. So yeah, all the trips that I made to the track previously on the new build, it was basically blasting through the clutch, just right to rev limiter. So yeah, probably what ended up breaking that valve seat was the fact it was just blasting through the clutch and hitting the rev limiter super hard. So yeah, anyways, made it back to the track. After I got the head back on and everything, I went ahead, I resurfaced the flywheel and the pressure plate myself. I took a little extra height off the steps on the flywheel to get the pressure plate to that nice sweet spot for clamping force. And I think it worked. So yeah, first run was kind of a bust because O2 sensor died. After that run, I replaced the O2 sensor, and then the next 2 passes were the much better passes. The second pass was 11.2 at 126. This was on lowish boost. It was on at like 20 psi. Basically, the car set up for boost by speed. So first gear, or 0 miles an hour up to about 45 miles an hour, it's about 19 psi, and then ramps up to about 25 psi. So the fact that it went 11.2 on low boost with me not really trying, you know, I wasn't trying to shift it hard, I was just trying to get good data. Kind of shocked it actually went that quick. So excited about that. 60 foot 1.62. Pretty good. It felt pretty good. Clutch definitely holding. Pulled like 1.1 Gs. Close, or the time base traction control was a little tight, so it hit the limiter, or it hit the ignition cut a little hard, and I think that hurt the 60 foot on that one a little bit. But once again, really wasn't going for a record-breaking pass. I was just trying to get data. The other thing I did while the car was down for 2 years was I swapped out the final drive for a taller final drive, and the purpose of that was to make the car easier to launch, and it really seems like that actually helped. That did what it was supposed to do. After that pass, I went ahead, I gave it all the boost. I knew it was going to be the last pass of the night, and I went from like 33% duty to 44% duty. That's what it made like 580 on, so just went ahead and cranked it up. Didn't want to go for 600s into the clutch. Even though it seems like it's holding, it was still never designed to handle 500 foot-pounds of torque, so I didn't want to go for the full, you know, the full dyno pull duty cycle power. So this run, super excited, also super disappointed. Only disappointed because I missed the gear. missed third gear. Anyways, car went 1.604 to the 60, so that 1.604 I'm really excited about, because that's real close to my goal of like a 1.5. I want to see like a 1.5560. That would be ideal. If I plan on hitting a 9, which I don't think I'm going to be able to hit a 9 with only 600 horse, but wishful thinking. So yeah, the fact that it did 160 to that 60 foot and it was still kind of hitting the time-based traction control just a little bit too hard. So I think if I relax the traction control just a little bit and give it more power, because I still have like basically no power in first gear. It's only like 16 or 17 psi in first gear, and I think it can probably take like 26 psi. You know, I think it can take a lot more in first gear. So so yeah, 160, 4.7 to the 330, not a great 330. That wasn't shifting it very quickly, so I think that's the main problem there. Also, not a lot of power in second gear in this pass. That 44% duty was from like third gear and up, and it was only like 38% duty from like the middle of second to third. So it was probably like 26 psi. I'll take a look at the log and give you like the exact numbers, but yeah. Then, you know, I missed third gear, so yeah, pretty cruddy there. So yeah, I ended up missing third gear. But still, even with missing third, it went 7.5 to the 8th at 95 miles an hour, which is pretty cool considering that, like I said, like I didn't get back into it until like, you know, after the, you know, well after the 330. So yeah, and then 11.5 at 124, and pretty cool. It went 11.5 after missing a gear, so that's pretty cool. But wish the trap was a little higher, but considering that missed gear, I guess the trap would suffer from that. Still, like, with the missed gear, still 30 miles an hour on the back half, and that's like basically 30 miles an hour by letting out after like the 330 and coasting for a little bit and then getting back into it because of the missed shift. Then I also let out a little bit early because it felt like the car was breaking up a little bit. Looking at the log, it might not have been breaking up. It might have been pushing through the clutch. Either way, I went ahead, I took the spark plugs and I gapped them down to 0.017 millimeter because they're at like 20. They're just factory gap because I figured I'd see how much it could handle at the factory gap. But I don't think the factory Corolla, the OEM, not OEM to me, but the Toyota Corolla ignition coils that I'm running probably aren't up to the task of, you know, 44 psi at 8,000 RPM. So I went ahead and got the plugs down a little bit more. That should help. I don't know if it's gonna help enough, but we'll see next time I go out. I'm gonna try and go back Wednesday, Sunday today. Probably not gonna have time to source like new coils and get that wired up and all that stuff. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully gapping down the plugs help for that. Overall, yeah, pretty excited. Like I said, you know, no record-breaking passes or anything, you know, but like I said, that 60 foot's really good. The 330 is really good considering the slow shifts. So I think next trip out, I should be able to see like some low 10s out of this thing. 9's probably not on the table right now with the build as it is because they're factory main caps and the max speeding rods. I don't know how much those can really take. I mean, I think they're probably pretty safe at like 580, 600 horse, you know, but the turbo that's on the car, you know, it's a precision 6262 with a .63 back half, so it spools late but comes in hard, and so it builds a lot of torque and right now the car is making about 500 foot-pounds when the turbo comes on, and that's pretty risky on stock main caps. And I think to see a 9, I think I'm going to have to be a little bit more than 600 horse. I would have to push it harder than I did on the dyno. if I had a slightly bigger housing on it, I would probably risk it, but I don't know. I mean, I say that now, and then I might get out there and run like a 10.000 and just decide to say screw it and go for it. But at this point, it's not really worth it. I think if I want a 9-second car, I want a reliable 9-second car. So I would want to build something with some nice parts in it, you know, or build an engine with some nice parts in it, and do some billet main caps and do all that stuff, and just make sure that it's safe and it's going to survive and not scatter everything all over the track. So for now, you know, goal is get back out there, get it back to where it was. I'd like to see a 10.6 or better. I'd like to see like a 10.2. That's like that's my soft goal, is to see a 10.2 out of it and see like maybe like 140, 142 miles an hour trap. My wishful thinking is that it'll go like 990s at like 145 or something like that. But in order to do something like that, it's gonna need a absolutely phenomenal front half. Like that front half is going to have to be immaculate in order for it to do a 990 or to touch the nines. I mean, it's gonna have to be like 4-wheel drive type launching or rear-wheel drive type front half, and I don't know if that's possible, but we can see, you know. We can try. We can see what happens. But just kind of a realist. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm going to try and, you know, get back into it, get back out there more, film more. But, you know, life and whatnot takes a hold, and things happen and whatnot, and other things take priority. And this is a hobby after all, so don't really want to grind to do just to do this. I want it to be fun. But anyways, like I said, that's it for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell and do all that cheesy stuff that YouTubers ask you to do. And yeah, that'll be it for now. Till next time.